All right, good afternoon, everybody. I'm very, very honored that the very famous Rabbi Yaron Reuven took the time to notice me and make a video against me, which I'm sure will get me some more, at least hate views, and hate views are still views. Trying to get to those 4,000 hours, whatever it is, that to be monetized on YouTube. And I apologize. I'll say that now. For accusing him of watching TV on Shabbos. I don't know if he does or doesn't. I was kind of being a little bit, I would use the term satirical in saying that. But the truth is, there's such a thing as lo sonos eger, which I think is a bigger isser than leaving a TV on before Shabbos. It's plain from Shulchan Aruch that no, you shouldn't be involved in secular things on Shabbos. If you're leaving it on and watching something, meaning it's left on and you're watching a shir, and you're sure that that's all it's going to play the whole Shabbos, I can't think of any isser whatsoever in doing that. You want it to be other than possibly mashmiya kol, which still it's mistama. That's not what's mashma and mashmiya kol. But and the truth of the matter is, actually touching electricity, it's certainly not nisr deraisa, according to most opinions. Although enough opinions that say that it is. That's why we're careful. But certainly you can't say it's nisr derabanan, because the rabbanan weren't goyzer on such a thing that didn't exist in that time. So if it's not a nisr deraisa, it's not a nisr derabanan. You want to say something the chol. Maybe, probably, but again, Chazal have to be misakin what is uvdin dechol. So it's not so pashut. But we erlich we don't do it. We don't touch electricity, but it's an actual isser. You're going to say someone is chayiv misa for touching electricity. It's very, very far fetched, and we really need a set hedron to be able to paskin something like that anyway. But we shouldn't do it, But what I'm saying is, this case, what we're talking about here, it wasn't my house, it wasn't even anywhere near me. It was 1,000 feet in front of where I happened to be parked in a camper, sitting and learning and davening, and just, So you want to talk about hecher zachen, he's talking from the Igeres Agra. You want to say also Reb Shlomo Lencher. He held that it's a hefsek to talk between Kiddush Friday night and Shalosh Shudas. He didn't even say Torah. He just davened, and he made the Tainas Dibur the whole Shabbos. He's a big tzaddik, Reb Shlomo Lencher. But we're not on that madrega to make Tainas Dibur the whole Shabbos, and he wasn't Mora L'Rabim that's the psak. I mean, he held that for himself as a chumrah for Zichalai. That the brach of Kiddush Friday night was for all Shalosh Shudas, so for all three meals. So he didn't talk from Kiddush Friday night till Shalosh Shudas. It's not anybody who's saying that everybody has to follow that. I know people are eniklich from Reb Shlomo Lencher, and they don't do that. So it is what it is. But I really apologize, and I thank him for insulting me, because to give me that opportunity. I appreciate that. So that's one thing. Like the old Bali Musa used to do. They used to do foolish things just so people would insult them, and then they would be knocking me kolavera, and all. It's a gewaltige Zach. It's an incredible thing. So I really appreciate it. I appreciate also my old friend, my old Chavrusa, who comments here. We could sit and we could learn again. We used to learn on the phone years ago. We could learn again. Nothing wrong with that. And I appreciate all of that. So as he asked, what's my agenda in doing this? It's my agenda. I mean, Osher talks about what his agenda is. His agenda is he's upset that people charge a lot of money for gerus, whether it's recognized, not recognized. And the halach is, when it comes to gerus, that the bezdin could ask for what's called schar b'tola. They could, and so if you're talking to somebody who's a multi-million-dollar lawyer, and he's going to sit on the bezdin, and he's taka losing $3,300 for that hour that he is involved in the Bezdin, because he could make that money during that time. So then he's allowed to take that money, and all three of the Rabbanim are like that. They're all allowed to take it. That's the halacha. But if he's not, he's not. Hold on a second. We're going to pause this. Okay. Just had to mail a letter. Anyway, so what we were talking about? We were asking. I think Rabbi Reuven asked why do I do? What's my agenda? So I told you, Rabbi Usher, he doesn't want people to be charging, lots of money unduly. And I'm explaining the halacha is, when it comes to gerus, there's what's called schar b'tola. So again, if someone, like I said, a lot of Rabbanim are also lawyers. Rav Kellerman, Zechron Livracha, right, was nifter recently in West Hempstead, was a big Rav in West Hempstead, right? He was also a lawyer. I think Meir Kahana was also a lawyer. I don't know if either of them ever sat on Bezdin for gerus. I'm sure Rav Kellerman must have. I don't know. So they're both lawyers. I think Novominsker Rebbe was also a lawyer. I don't know. I know he went to college. I don't know if he went to law school. I'm not sure. Or Baron Tursky is a big lawyer, right? He's Hornsteipler Rebbe's Hornsteipler Rebbe's son, Bavram's brother. If one of them, probably could make a lot of money as a lawyer, and they're losing out on that money, so that's schar b'tola. That when you're allowed to, it doesn't have to be a lawyer, whatever it is. You happen to be, you're losing that money. The same thing, you're traveling. So I know there's a Bezdin I work with. They don't take any money when you go to them in Queens or wherever. The mikveh takes something, but the dayanim don't take anything. But if they have to fly out to to Denver, sit on the Bezdin, so then they're going to charge not just for the flight, but for the hotel and the food and whatever else. It's schar b'tola. So the truth is, I know, like Rabbi Reuven says, he brings people to various batei din. And one of those batei din is a very choshev Rav, a major Rav. Not all of his gerus is accepted, people should know, because really there's no guarantee that any gerus is accepted by the Rabbanut. It's a whole thing now. They don't do that anymore. It's a case-by-case basis. The very choshev Rav, I know his daughter-in-law went to school with me. A major Rav, a big dayan, big posek. And Rabbi Mazin said something that when people come from outside of his community to do gerus, he charges this money, whatever, $10,000. I've heard even $15,000. And the truth is, for his own community, he doesn't do gerus. This particular Rav, that's because the custom in that community is they don't do it. So, and it's not a Syrian community, there's not a metzias that he's doing gerus for somebody in his community. But yes, he does a lot of gerus for people outside of his community. He's very lenient. Probably his standards are really not much more strict than Asher Meza's standards. Maybe a little bit more strict. Certainly, when I was working with Asher Meza in Richmond, and there were people who wanted to be Megayer, and I was ready to Megayer them, and I asked Asher, maybe I think he's gotten more lenient over the years, but in those days, I had to have him in for a particular gerus, and Asher refused to do it, because the guy wanted to marry a girl, and he said she wasn't from enough, and she was a Jewish girl, and she was from an Orthodox family, but not really that from. And Usher said, no, unless he breaks up with her, he's not doing his gerus. So you should know that Usher Meza does have standards. He doesn't, but although he did, I think so. Maybe he's a little bit more lenient now with certain things, but he still doesn't do these things for intermarriage and things. That I know he doesn't do. It's not intermarriage when you convert, but I'm just saying he doesn't do it to eliminate an intermarriage, as far as I know. To prevent an intermarriage, like Rav Uziel was the chief rabbi of Israel. He said you should do it, even if they're not from. So you have to know what you're talking about. But anyway, this Rav was following more or less like Rav Uziel, and he's very lenient, but he charges a lot of money, and he's a big dayan, and I think he's allowed to. Again, I don't know who the other dayanim, and there's all kinds of other fees that are involved in mikveh, but I know that it comes for this particular Rav, it comes to about between $10,000 and $15,000 usually. Um, is it worthwhile? Yes, maybe. But is it guaranteed to be recognized? No. Might be, might not be. He's very famous, very well known, very choshev, big Talmud Chacham, and he knows what he's doing. Because really, there's nothing wrong to make a gerus for intermarriage, even the people are not really frum and all these things. That's the halacha. Uh, according to certain opinions. Again, other rabbanim hold different opinions. Everybody follows their own thing. Certain dayanim I work will never, even if they're frum. He says, yeah, the gerus is chal, but he's not going to do l'shem nesuyin. That's his shita. Everybody has their own thing. So, and again, Rav Asher did not accuse that the money that Yaron Reuven or Mizrahi or someone. Yaron Reuven is a member of our Igad Rabbanim, so he has to have smicha. He's a rabbi. As far as I know, Mizrahi doesn't really have smicha, or maybe as Rav Manig, and I think maybe I heard possibly from this dayan who does he gave him some kind of a Rav Manig smicha, which is fine, nothing wrong with it, and it's certainly not worthless, and he could use a title rabbi if he wants. Um, and I don't think he's not Pikaris, and I don't think he's a Rasha. I want that to be clear. I don't think Yaron Reuven is a Rasha. I don't think Mizrahi is a Rasha. I don't think Yaron Reuven is Apikoris. I don't think Yossi Mizrahi is Apikoris. I do think they're a little bit too nasty, and they're saying things that are tafil and making the maker, and it's a mistake, at least in my opinion. But if other people they like that, gives them to hate. What's wrong with that? I'm not. But as far as this claim that he's making that Rabbi Reuven and Rabbi Mizrahi bring Gerim to a Bezdin that charges $10,000, I know that to be a fact. I know which Bezdin it is. I'm not going to say it. I don't want to insult. It's a very big dayan. I bring to sometimes, not too often, but I've brought people to dayanim who, like I said, are from the same county, or I guess now the next county over, but because this one Rav removed, I think, the one, and they don't charge anything. Like I said, if you go to them, they're not charging anything. And I don't know, maybe he brings to other Batei Din, but I know. So there, and the ones that I bring to sometimes, very very recognized. Again, right now there's no guarantee anything's gonna be recognized, but usually, most of the time, this one bezdin that I go to, usually, but I only brought 2 or 3 people there, because I don't want to take that chrayas, because it's a very major, and the one time I brought someone very frum, very frum couple, and people started to harass them over the scaris. So what do I have to get them in trouble for that? So I'll take it on myself. People want to harass me, they can harass me. I don't want to have to harass a big dayan who's a big choshev a dayan who's been around for 50 years, more than that, in Rabbanis and Dayanis. Why does he have to get harassed because of my gearing? So, so usually I'm not bringing people there. I can make a bezdin. I have people I work with. Thank you for watching. God bless. Please like, share, and subscribe. Comment,